the clients that you're taking on, then you can be, again, more conscious of what your fee structure is or what is more appropriate to meet that income level. You can't do pricing without taking into consideration the results you get for clients. The example I gave earlier where I said, you can't be saving a client, say, $50,000 in 90 days, and the fee to work with you over 90 days is $2,000 or $2,500. I mean, that is too low compared to what you're delivering. Now, for some of you who might be saying, well, all of my results for my clients are not necessarily financial, or it's not cost, or it's not money, well, that's fine. Then what are the results? Part of getting paid what you're worth is always being clear and always knowing, top of mind, what value you bring to customers. Out of the work that you do for them, what is most valuable for them? What did they get out of the process? And you're only going to get that information from having conversations with them, from following up, from having feedback. One of the things I do with my clients in the VIP Day program is that we put together 3 top questions that then my clients would go out and use with their clients each and every time, so that you're always gathering information. You should always be able to cite, from working with me, these are the typical results that my clients get. And it's good not only for helping you to set your pricing, it's good as a reminder to you, especially we're talking about getting paid your worth. Well, how do you know your worth? Through the results that you get for the clients. How do you know the results that you get for the clients? You keep asking them and you keep gathering that information. Right? Another way in terms of pricing strategies is to make sure that you're diversifying your services. Now, I've had someone share information just this past week on LinkedIn where he basically said that, I'm subject to someone else's budget, so it means that he gets these long-term contracts, and while he's independent, he's going into one company and he's working for a period of time. So I challenge you to think this way. If a company typically hires you for, say, a 3-month or a 6-month project, so then you're locked into that one particular client, which means there's probably little room to network, a little room to build your pipeline for other opportunities. What are some other solutions that you can provide for that company, for that client, that maybe you can deliver in an accelerated format, that you could charge a different fee structure, that can open up then your schedule to take on other clients as well? Or what are some other solutions that you can have so that you're not solely dependent on one type of client? Right? You might still have your niche market and you have your ideal client, and that's fine, but you're not so locked into just one person so that when that one contract goes, everything goes for you. So just think about that. When you're then able to diversify your consulting services, then from there you could start developing what I call your profit-building pyramid. So I know what I'm going to be pricing. I know the types of services I'm going to offer. Then that helps you with your strategy on a day-to-day basis, week-to-week, month-to-month networking, the different types of services then that you're going to be selling, services, solutions, programs, whatever those are for you. Very, very key with getting paid what you're worth, because you're trying to move away from being just so tied in and so dependent on one particular contract. All right? The other thing now in doing business as a consultant, you're going to run into scenarios where, you're going to get some pushback, you're going to get some questions, you're going to get some requests for discounts, you're going to get people who totally want to buy based on price and nothing else. And often I hear people say, how do I handle that? A critical part of getting paid what you're worth, obviously, is getting comfortable with your own consulting fees. After you leave this session today and you've had, 24 or 48 hours to really digest it, I'd love to be able to hear from you, because on average, each of you should be raising your prices anywhere, honestly, between 20% and 40% based on some of the things that I've said today. But you have to get comfortable with it. Not only comfortable with it, you have to get confident with it. So a big part of getting paid what you're worth is be able to say your fees with, again, confidence and almost matter of fact, as if you're telling someone to pass the salt. I've had an article out now on LinkedIn, and it says, how to quote your consulting fees, with confidence. Say it, and then be quiet. Say it to yourself a whole lot until you're comfortable with it. But when you're very comfortable with it, it makes a difference, and when you're confident with it, it makes a difference. And then it also allows you to not always be so quick to waver when someone starts giving you pushback, especially when you know the type of results that you give. The same with increasing your fees. You say, how can I increase my fees, because I think I might lose this person who's worked with me for a while. Well, what results have you get? Has the person been able to achieve through their work with you? Remind the person of that. Talk about the difference in what they're paying, not necessarily throwing out a big number. So, again, if I know I've been working with you and you remind me that every single year that my, again, I'm using just general terms, my revenue has grown 20%, and your fees are going to go up now 10%, I might say, you know what, that's fine enough. I'm with something good that works, so I'm going to stick with it. So, again, don't make decisions for your clients. Responding to requests for discounts. Again, I could do a whole other session just on discounts, and I'm very, very, as much as I'm adamant about people getting paid what they're worth and charged what they're worth, I'm very adamant about people not giving away their services. So when someone asks you for a discount, I think that's the time when you need to really clarify from the individual what solution is best for them, because maybe there's a different solution that you can offer that's at a different price point. Again, the importance of diversifying your services. Or if they're really saying that this is all I can afford, well, that's fine. Then how about you modify the solution then? I've had cases like where someone said, and they wanted to get like $200-300 off, and I said, I'm happy to work with you with that budget if that's what you have, but it'll be a modified solution. So let's talk about what that new modified solution would look like. The person decided that they didn't want a modified solution, so they went ahead and paid the original price. But at least offer people a modified solution that can fit their budget. But you can't give one person the same thing at two different prices. Now, I can't tell you if once a year you want it to run a special or around the holidays you want it to run a special. I mean, however you run your business, that's you. But you don't want it every time your price is going up and down, depending on who's coming through the door. Dealing with price shoppers and people who object to your price. Sometimes people don't pay attention. I've had a lot of times people read the website, they haven't looked at my background, they haven't looked at a lot of things. So you use the opportunity then to educate people, to educate what it is that they're really buying. I always believe that people they're not buying you necessarily, even though we use that term loosely in marketing and branding. They're really making an investment in themselves, and they're doing it through you. So it's an opportunity then to really educate people on exactly what is the transformation that they'll get from working with you. What are the results that you've typically gotten for your clients, to use it as an opportunity to educate them. And it's one of two ways. They might say, wow, I didn't realize that, and see the value in it, or they'll just move right along to the next person. But you can't, again, go back and forth and automatically jump into negotiation mode because someone just wants to purchase based on price. The same way I'm telling you not to, quote unquote, sell yourself just based on the hour, then, why give in to someone who's only focused on price? They don't really care how amazing the transformation is. They just want to get it at a certain price, and there are shoppers like that, and you have to accept that. All right, again, let's pause for a second and take a deep breath. Again, I've given a lot of information and a lot of food for thought, and I thought it made sense to kind of close out, and I'm not going anywhere. I'm just saying some final points here on the PowerPoint. to really take a look at what are some tips that you can use going forward. What are some strategies that make sense going forward? Always quote your fees after you've helped the prospect identify the cost of the challenge. And I'm going to really pause here for a second. Really get to the cost. What is it costing that person? And cost, of course, depending on the type of consulting that you're doing, it's not. You know that we're not just talking about money, right? A cost to someone might be, being able to sleep at night. A cost might be their health. I mean, there's so many things. Be very clear on exactly whatever challenge the prospect is dealing with, what is it really costing them? If it's a money cost, take the time out and make them calculate what that cost is. Because if I know that I'm in a situation and it's costing me $5,000 a month, and you could come in for one day, and for $3,000 you could help me to fix it, that's $3,000 that's helping me to solve a $60,000 problem. But if I might just hear $3,000 and I'm not really thinking about the long-term impact of the cost, in my mind I might just say, I can't do $3,000 right now. So again, quote your fees once you've gotten very clear. Always be clear on your profit and income goal as a benchmark of success, right? Sometimes, when we're working as consultants, and again, if you've diversified your offerings, you might have a premium program or service or package that, say, goes for $10,000, and you have something else that maybe, it's a half-day program that maybe people pay, $2,000. Be clear on what your ultimate goal is for your profit and your income to decide whether you're moving in the right direction. So don't just look at, wow, that was $10,000. Yeah, but if you're only getting that $10,000 every 5 months, then you're not doing well. So keep that in mind. As I mentioned before, keep an ongoing record on your clients' results. They serve as your proof. That's your social proof, time and time again. You know that when you're interested in purchasing something from someone or using someone else's service, you're always curious as to who used this before I did and what type of success did they have. So keep a record of it. Did I skip ahead? I did. I'm sorry. In general, keep in mind that you set the price, the client perceives the value, and your results influence that value. So again, you set the price and you've done your homework, you know what you bring to the table, you know the results people can get, the client perceives the value. So I reinforce again, don't jump in and make a decision for the client or for the prospect. What you charge is a reflection of how you value yourself, your time, and your expertise. If you are undercharging, I can tell you without even speaking to you that you're overworked, that you're overwhelmed, that you're frustrated, and even the best clients that you would normally love can become a source of stress. Because when you're not being paid what you're worth, I don't care how much you love what you do, you're never fully present for your clients. You're there, but at the same time, it's like, I got to try and get this done because I have to move on to the next thing. When you're getting paid what you're worth, you're able to really be better tuned into the client and to be able to better deliver your best, because I don't care how passionate you are about what you're doing. There's nothing passionate about stressing out over bills or stressing out where the next dollar comes from. So keep in mind that what you charge is a reflection as to how you value yourself. So anytime you're undercharging, you have to remind yourself that you're undercharging, you're undervaluing you. And what does that really say what does that really say even to clients that you're meeting? I have screened people online for different services, called them up, made a discussion session with them, excited by, what I saw and what I read, and their lack of confidence and it coming through their conversation, their pricing not matching up with my value